Hi, good evening. Thanks for being here. It's the 12th day of August, and it's a Friday wrapping up a full week of covering the election fraud trial in London, where we have had a two-person team there start to finish covering every single moment of testimony throughout the entire event that began, of course, early on Tuesday morning. And it's still ongoing at this hour. Before we get into the testimony from this morning through the latter part of this evening, let me say this. As far as the schedule, without jumping ahead too much, it is still ongoing at the 6 o'clock hour. There were arrangements for the jury to possibly stay in a few hours past that. It was also an option that was given to the jury as to whether or not they would want to deliberate now or possibly wait until early next week, and that being on Tuesday from what I understand. They had not come back with that decision as of yet. I'm telling you this right now, so I don't forget to tell you in a few moments that in lieu of that, I will have at 6:15 another update coming in from the court as to exactly what their plans are, if they have made any at that time. We're also leaving open the window possibility, or at least the opportunity, of having a news show at 11 o'clock to cover any breaking news that may happen over the course of the evening if they do go into deliberations, if there is other information that we want to make sure that you have before the weekend. One way or the other, it's going to be a long night for myself here in the studio, but that's why we're here, just to let you know that is our plan as of this hour, but it's still kind of fluid, and we're still waiting to see what the actual schedule is going to be from the court. And once again, I'll have an update for you and myself on that matter in about 15 minutes or so from now. We'll start with testimony in just a few moments from this morning. I've got other news and information weather-wise, just to give you a heads up. It's looking drier and hotter for your weekend than it was 24 hours ago. Warm and humid, and we've also got that humidity is going to give us some lower chances, albeit, of some showers and storms over the course of the weekend than what I was referring to 24 hours ago. Any showers or storms that you do see should be brief and to the point, and it's going to be a mostly dry weekend, and some changes are on the way for next week. We've got newly adjusted daytime highs. Well, let me find them before I go any further. This is the latest update. Yeah, down to 82 on your next Wednesday. That'll be a welcome change now, won't it? All right, local headlines, other news and information as well, a couple of other top stories in your calendar in just a few moments. But right now, let's go ahead and get you caught up on testimony that happened in the London courtroom in the federal courthouse as of today, beginning with this morning. Of course, the defense still in control as of this morning. Michael Curtis, the attorney for Magistrate Rooster Reisner, at that time, upon re-adjourning this morning, called James Stacy to the stand, who said that he'd known Rooster Reisner for about 10 years, and that he also knew James Gamble, and that both he and Gamble had been to Rooster's house. He also testified that he recalled that in early of May of 2014, before the election, that he, that being Stacy, called Rooster Reisner to see if he needed any help around the house, and that he asked Gamble to go with him to Rooster's and ride with him, telling Gamble that they might go put up some election signs for Rooster Reisner. He also testified that Gamble never talked to Rooster while there, and that Rooster paid them $200, $100 each, total of $200, to go hang some political signs. Not that many, he said. And he also said while they didn't hang a few, there was no talk of buying votes. And that, of course, in contrast to the testimony that Gamble gave earlier this week. Jason Nemus, attorney for Larry Shepard, then called Emmanuel Montgomery, the Republican chairman for the Magoffin County Party. He testified that he supported Republicans only and that he has never supported Doc Harden. He also testified that when Justin Williams was selected to replace Mike Prater, that they chose Williams because he was considered to be upstanding in the county, that he does not consult, this being Emmanuel Montgomery saying that he does not consult with the Democrats during elections. He also described the process of a Republican challenger at each precinct. He also testified that Justin Williams was selected because of the always present perception of fraud in Magoffin County, and that he had daily contact with Williams while he was serving as a challenger to make sure that everything was covered and going all right. He called Mr. Williams' reputation above reproach. He also testified, that being Emmanuel Montgomery, that Garlina Workman was chosen as a Republican challenger after being selected by Republican candidates John Montgomery and Josie Bailey, and was believed to be honest and trustworthy. In cross, the government, Ken Taylor that being, asked Emmanuel Montgomery of John Montgomery winning precincts on Election Day by 400 votes, while Doc Harden received 70% of the absentees. And if Republicans work so hard, how can the Democrats steal every election? Taylor also asked Montgomery why Mike Prater resigned from the election board, to which he replied he didn't know, no reason was given. Taylor also asked if he knew any other Republican election officer which colluded to steal the election for the Democrats, to which he said no, he was not aware of any. Also in cross by Nemus asked Montgomery if he had any knowledge of Larry Shepard doing anything wrong, to which he replied no. Next, called for the defense by Nemus was Garlina Workman herself, a Republican challenger at the courthouse in Ward 1 in Sayersville. She testified that she voted for Republican Josie Bailey for clerk, the challenger to Renee Shepard, and that she was there for every day of absentee voting. She also testified that she and Jerry Helton were elbow to elbow throughout the process, that Justin Williams, Larry Shepard, and Susie Salyer were all in the same room, and that she never saw anything wrong or any appropriate, and that she considered herself to be on high alert during the process. The Assistant U.S. Attorney, Mr. Boone, in cross-examination of Garlina Workman, began to ask her about her duties as challenger. When Tammy Reisner's attorney spoke up to approach the judge asked if they could wait, and her attorney stated that he wasn't sure. All we know at that point is that the judge sent the jury out. Visibly shaken, Tammy Reisner hurried out of the courtroom. She returned moments later, still appearing shaky, but later, a few moments thereafter, the jury was brought back in. We're not sure of the exchange. Nevertheless, back to testimony. Boone is still crossing Garlina Workman. He questions her further. He asked her first if she is aware of the law that a clerk or her staff cannot provide help to voters, to which she replied no. He also asked if she saw Larry Shepard assist any voters, to which she said yes. Boone showed her voter assistance forms dated between October the 20th and November the 3rd, before the election, and asked her if she was there on the date of a particular form in front of her that only had one name attached to it, that being Larry Shepard's signature on it, showing that he had assisted that voter or those voters. She said yes, saying that she recalled that voter in particularly, especially asking for Larry to help them. Boone also showed her another such assistance form with only Larry's signature attached to it. That one she could not recall. To which Boone asked, then is it possible that there might have been 10 or more others like that, to which she could not recall or was aware of? She said, quote, I guess. Workman also testified she never saw Shepard on a cell phone and that she saw nothing wrong in 2010 either when she was a challenger. Boone noted that was the year for which Randy Salyer was convicted of vote buying. Next, called by the defense, was local pastor Justin Williams, who testified that the Republican chairman called him in his office, came to his office rather, in 2014 with Mike Prater's resignation letter in hand, asking him to replace him. He referenced the challenge that he, that being Williams and 20 other pastors, led in early summer for fair and honest elections, asking candidates in McGoffin County to sign a pledge that they would not participate in vote buying. Williams also testified to supporting John Montgomery and Josie Bailey, Republican candidates, and he also testified that he served for 9 days on the election board, that he and Susie Salyer only assisted voters together, and that he kept a tight watch on the number of voters each day. He also testified that at the start of each day he would check the last name from the day before on the register to make sure that nothing had happened overnight, and that he watched for any possible secret signs between voters and workers. He also testified that he, Susie Salyer, and Renee Shepard would verify Social Security numbers to see if a person was eligible to vote. He also testified that he never saw Larry Shepard in a position to see the voting machine screen after he gave the voter what he considered to be the proper instructions. That testimony was up until shortly before 10 o'clock this morning, at which point the court learns that Haley Hunley, the prosecution's witness, who was a no-show on yesterday, who the U.S. Marshals issued an arrest warrant for yesterday, was actually found. She had been arrested in Pike County sometime around 2 o'clock this morning, I am told, and at that time was en route, being transported by the U.S. Marshal's office to the court. The defense attorneys had all rested their cases at that point. The government went ahead and called Robbie McCarty as a rebuttal witness. He's the brother to Scotty McCarty, who testified that he had heard Scotty's testimony and Doug Patrick's testimony during the trial. Patrick, as you may recall, was called and testified. He was called by the defense, saying that his driveway had been paved since 1994 and that he nor any of his sons had received gravel for votes. Robbie McCarty testified, however, that he was the one that hauled the gravel to Doug Patrick's after calling Patrick that morning and telling him that Doc Harden was sending gravel. The defense accused in cross Robbie of trying to save his brother Scotty McCarty, to which he said Doug Patrick's driveway was paved, but there was gravel at the end of it, and gravel that led to a trailer behind his home where I believe it was a daughter lived, and that he also hauled gravel to the Fritz Church of God because Doug Patrick's son lives beside it, and that his driveway got gravel too. That was the last testimony before lunch at 12:30. They resumed an hour later with the last witness to be called by the prosecution, that being Haley Hunley, who was brought in by the U.S. Marshal's Office. She was transported from the Pike County Jail. She testified that a woman had called and offered to buy her vote, Tammy Reisner. She identified later as being that individual. Hunley said that she went to fill out an absentee to vote for Hardin, and Tammy said that someone might come in. She was going to the machine to vote, as I understand it, and Tammy instructed her that while she was voting, someone might come in, but be sure to vote the right way nonetheless. Hunley said that she voted at the clerk's office with Chad Hunley, her husband, as she testified. She said she filled out the absentee form to vote, and a man she identified in court as Larry Shepard went in with her to vote. She said that he set up the machine. She told him when she was done voting, and he then went back over her ballot, and she was pretty sure, she said, that he was the one that submitted the vote and it wasn't herself. Hunley says she went outside, and when she did so, Tammy Reisner there was with 3 or 4 other people that she identified as Doug Bailey, Wilma Keaton, I believe some others. Hunley says that the money was received at some point thereafter by her husband Chad at $50 for each of them. Tammy's attorney asked her in cross if she was using drugs at the time. Hunley replied yes to Suboxone and marijuana, but stated that she, quote, wasn't out of her mind and she was using the Suboxone to recover from another habit, I believe, possibly an alcohol habit. After her testimony, the jury was dismissed and later brought back in a few moments thereafter, and the judge gave them instructions on how to follow thereafter. So after all the testimony, and Hunley's testimony was the last of it, then closing arguments would begin thereafter. The prosecution went first with their assistant, Mr. Boone, giving his closing argument first. At my last update from the courtroom, and remember no phones or communications are allowed, Larry Shepard's defense attorney had just wrapped up, and the other 3 defendants were to follow, or their attorneys at least. And then Ken Taylor, the main or lead attorney for the government, would then issue or give his final closing remarks as well. As far as a timeline is concerned, I can tell you this: the judge had made arrangements for the jury to stay in as late as 8 o'clock this evening. He also gave them the option of deliberating tonight or waiting until Tuesday of next week. I haven't heard that decision as of yet. As I referred to at the start of the program, at 6:15, I'm expecting a call back or some sort of a message to give me a further update in any possible happenings, and we're still leaving the window open should it go into the next several hours of having a separate or new show at 11 o'clock to get you up to date before the weekend, which that will just put it a few moments away from the official start. Nevertheless, that's coverage for now, with more to come and more stories to come as well right after these messages.
For high-speed internet starting at 15 meg for all of your gaming, movie, home, and business solutions, or to watch TV, including your favorite local channels without a contract, with hundreds of channels and digital and HD quality, and to stay connected 24/7 with friends and family, a direct line to 911, or to give your business the link it needs, choose telephone service you know is always there. Just click on their link on this site to find out how affordable the latest technology in communications can be. Foothills Communications.
In a couple of other top stories this evening, access has been finally made way for residents who live in the Gifford area of McGoffin County. That does not include the exit or entrance ramps off of the Mountain Parkway for this new overpass, which is open to motorists. I'll show you that right now. And following that, we'll have the unfortunate duty of having to relay the information about a second fatality that relates to a motorcycle accident in Morgan County days ago.
An accident that has now claimed the lives of this couple. From what we understand, Kentucky State Police from Post 8 out of Moorhead says that they were contacted today by the Cabell County Medical Examiner, who told them that 46-year-old Janet Caskey of Clearfield had been pronounced deceased at that facility just earlier today due to the injuries that she sustained in a motorcycle crash, a head-on collision involving the motorcycle of which she was a passenger. That crash that took place a week ago tomorrow, last Saturday, on Route 7 in Morgan County outside of West Liberty. It was on that date that state police reported the two-vehicle head-on crash Troopers responding to the scene saying that they determined that 42-year-old Teresa Haney of Olive Hill was operating her 2003 GMC Envoy SUV, and she was northbound on Kentucky 7. Police believe that she crossed the center line and she struck head-on the motorcycle that was driven by 46-year-old Thomas Tufts of Flemingsburg. He was pronounced dead at the scene. His passenger at the time, Janet Caskey from Clearfield, as I said, as well as the operator, Teresa Haney of the SUV, were both taken by a hospital to the St. Mary's Hospital in Huntington, West Virginia. They were listed in critical condition. We don't have an update on Haney, the driver of the SUV, at this hour, but obviously we have since heard of the passing of Miss Caskey. Via his Facebook page, Mr. Tufts had indicated that he was a body shop owner in the Rowan County area, I do believe, and he also indicated that the two had just become engaged weeks prior. Here in Montgomery County, another story, travel on the Mountain Parkway is still a situation that warrants your full attention. No lane changes in the past few days, but it's nearly a different scenario each time you travel the Mountain Parkway, as crews are working on several different projects, a portion of which they have opened up. Crews in Montgomery County have opened up the new overpass across the Mountain Parkway as of today. Now, this gives local access to those crossing the Parkway west of Sagersville. The previous overpass at Gifford Road was closed. It's been a little more than a year ago, so they could build a new interchange on the Parkway and construct the new two-lane span across the Mountain Parkway. While work is continuing to widen the Parkway near the Gifford Road interchange, this portion has been opened up. I want to stress that is the overpass. The new overpass is at mile point 70 of the Mountain Parkway, roughly about 5 miles out of Sagersville. The exit ramps, entrance ramps onto this overpass and Gifford Road are not open as of yet. For obvious reasons if you travel that area, because if you get off on one or the other, well, you might be getting onto or off of, well, you might be getting onto, I should say, lanes that are not open and connected, so there's nowhere to go. So the ramps are still blocked through traffic, but you can travel, as you can see, as I did earlier today, across the overpass. Marshall Carrier, project manager, says they're very happy to be able to open this new span to local traffic. He also says that residents who rely on this roadway have been extremely understanding, he says, as they have used detours to cross the Mountain Parkway while they constructed the new bridge. When the interchange is completed, travelers are going to have even better access, he says. Tonight's McGoffin Farm Bureau Community Calendar starts off with a birthday wish. It does in honor of Harley LeMaster. Her birthday was Wednesday. Phoned in yesterday, Harley, and my apologies for not getting it on until today. Nevertheless, from your aunts and uncles and a host of family and friends, happy birthday, Harley LeMaster. Just a couple of quick reminders for some weekend events. Don't forget Ernie Thacker, Black Powder Express, and a host of other entertainers are performing tomorrow starting at 1 down in West Liberty, all put together by the Appalachian Outdoorsman Association. Find them on Facebook. You'll find all the directions you need to get there. It's not that hard, not that far. A monster show. Kids 12 and under get in free. It's just $10 for everyone else, and it's all in support of their program. They're buying, with this particular event, some archery supplies for the youth in their association, and if you're an outdoorsman of any sort, you need to go to find more about Appalachian Outdoorsman Association. Pastor Lindsey Mead and everyone at the First Community Baptist Church wants to invite everyone, and singers and musicians too, to be a part of a gospel singing that starts tomorrow night at 7. And I want to invite you to use our community calendar for organizational announcements like you just heard, and birthdays and anniversaries too. To do so, choose any way in front of you want to send them to us. Just send them to us. Tell me. We'll tell everyone about them. And lastly, this evening, a reminder from the McGoffin County Funeral Home about services to be held in honor of 33-year-old Roland Matthew Bailey, Jr., known as Bub to all he knew and loved. From Salt Lick Road, he passed away earlier this week, survived by his father, Roland Matthew Bailey Sr., his mother, Judy Joseph Bailey, and his brother, Jeff. Visitation is this evening at the Eternal Church of God on Waldo. Services will be at the church tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. In lieu of flowers, the family asks that you please make contributions to the Roland Matthew Bailey Jr. Memorial Fund, and I'm also told that there is a GoFundMe account in his honor that has been established, and the family would invite you to participate in supporting him as well there. I'll be right back with more messages and news after this. All right, before we go on to your Licking Valley RECC forecast, I just did receive an update from our team in the courtroom in London, and I'll have that for you in just a moment. Right now, we'll go ahead and fast forward on over to a few weather predictions. Hot and humid is what I'm going to say. Listen, I'm not going to say it's accurate at this point. It's right out in the middle of the blazing sun, but I'm clocking 99 degrees here at the studio. I'm just going to tell myself that's not accurate. Actually, down to 98 at this particular time. Not that it's falling. I think it's just teetering between the two. Nevertheless, it's hot. It's humid, and it's going to be that way again tomorrow. Tonight, another night, a muggy one out there. It's 71, partly cloudy, 20% chance of some scattered showers. Nothing over the viewing area as I'm speaking to you right now, but that doesn't mean they're not going to pop up in a light, brief shower at any moment. That's just the way it is with all this energy and juice in the atmosphere. For tomorrow on your Saturday, a 20% chance of showers, thunderstorms afternoon. There will be some more patchy fog in the morning, partly sunny and hot. It will be 90, and it will feel like closer to 98, 99 degrees, I do believe. And I think my real-time temperature outside right now is closer to about 91, 92, and not the 98 that it's showing. Not a whole lot of difference. Let's just be honest. For the latter half of your weekend, as I said earlier, the weekend looking drier and hotter than this time 24 hours ago. For Sunday, though, it's going to be a bit cooler. We do have a weak cold front coming through, and it's going to knock temperatures down. It will start off Sunday doing so to the tune of about 85 degrees. Still partly sunny, still a 30% chance of some showers, and a slight chance, but still a chance. Now, starting off next week, you're going to notice a trend, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a little slow getting here, and it may be a little short-lived, but it's hard not to look to the right of your screen and not focus on Monday and Tuesday first. Nevertheless, Monday of next week, mid-80s will continue, mostly cloudy, a 40% chance of some showers and thunderstorms. Tuesday, pretty much ditto. I mean, look at the difference in the forecast. Very minimal, a 10% chance of some showers less on Tuesday than Monday, but temps, clouds, all look to be pretty much the same. It's Wednesday of next week. Temperatures look to drop, and I mean drop down to about 82 degrees, and nighttime lows in the upper 60s. Still cloudy. You'll see that there's a reason for the temperatures dropping again, and that is showers are going to be quite likely midweek, but some welcome change in the temperatures nonetheless.
Now, with all of that said, and all of the reporting that we have done pertaining to the election fraud trial in the federal courthouse in London, this is the most recent update. As I referred to you a couple of occasions, I think now throughout the program, the jury was given the option of going into deliberations tonight or waiting until after the weekend, which I think would have actually put them coming back in on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Nevertheless, in an update from the courtroom just a few moments ago, we have learned that they have since chosen to stay and deliberate tonight. Now, what that means is this, that we will be waiting here at the studio. I will be, no we to it, just me, myself, and I, and hovering, waiting for the next announcement. That, of course, could be a variety of things. They may deliberate. They may not reach a verdict tonight. They may not reach a verdict at all. We'll have to wait and see. But whatever happens between now and the close for them this evening, I will have for you at 11 o'clock in a new program. Also, keep in mind, I plan on being here and hopefully promptly at 11, and it will probably be a very brief and to-the-point program. No other news or coverage, just the information that we obtained that's happened since the jury went into the deliberations at 6 o'clock. Any verdicts or other information that I can share with you, I will do so again at 11 o'clock. So while it is still safe for me to say see you next time, it is not a good night just to see you in a few hours. Thank you for watching and being a part of the show.